Good day, everybody. It's great to have you back. Last time we spoke about the different parts of computer, and we went into detail to speak about the central processing unit. So, just to shed more light on that, the processing unit or the CPU can be separated into three parts. That's the arithmetical logic unit, the control unit, and the memory unit. And we said that the ALU, which is an arithmetical logic unit, is in charge of all the calculations and the logic that the computer performs. Then we said that the control unit takes care of all of the flow of binary data, zeros and ones in the computer, and that will be from all of the hardware devices, maybe from the mouse to the processor and all of that. Next, we have the memory unit, which is used to save data on a drive. This is important to us humans because when data is saved on a drive, or if a program is saved on a drive, then it can easily be retrieved at a later date. So today we'll be going over the memory unit in detail. First of all, I'd like to say that the memory unit can be subdivided into two. We have the first subdivision as the ROM, which is known as the read-only memory. Then we have the RAM, which is the random access memory. First of all, these two parts of the memory unit work together for the memory unit to be complete. You cannot have the memory unit of a computer that is just RAM or that is just ROM. Mostly, you have computers that have both RAM and ROM installed. So it's important for us to know what the difference is between these two types of memory. For those of us who will not be studying ICT, I know this may seem like it's not really important, but then yes, it is important because computers are used in almost every facet as we see today, and it will be nice for you to at least know a bit about the computer in case you have some technical issues. This is called layman's language. We just call this the hard drive. This may be HDD or SSD. We'll go over what HDD and SSD mean at some point later in our studies. And now all we have to know is that this is called the hard drive of or the ROM of the computer. So the ROM of the computer is where data is stored so that it can be retrieved later, or where a program is stored. You have a game, you can store it on your computer, and that actually means that you're storing it on your ROM. There have been different types of ROM. Computers have evolved and changed over time, and I'll just give you a short gist. First of all, there's the masked ROM. Masked ROM is used in phones where you cannot download any song or you cannot add any song to the phone or to the device. There used to be these very small phones a long time ago. I'm not sure any of you would have used those phones, blue screen phones that could not download any song. You know, they just had maybe 5 ringtones on the phone, and you could not just add any other ringtone, and you could not even delete any ringtone from the phone. That's how the masked ROM works. It's called masked because just like a mask, it's like covered. You cannot add or remove from that memory. It's basically set up by the factory and cannot be changed in any way. After that type of ROM, we came across the PROM, permanent ROM. For the PROM, it comes as a hard drive, just like a blank hard drive or a blank computer or a blank phone. However, with the PROM, programmable ROM or permanent ROM, once you say send a movie, say Titanic, to the hard drive, you will never be able to delete that movie ever. The only way you can say maybe get a different movie would be to remove the PROM from your computer and buy a new PROM and put that in your computer. And even for the second PROM, remember that if you get any maybe song, say Buga, and you put it on that PROM, you will never be able to remove that song by using whatsoever means. So the PROM was programmable, and it didn't allow people to delete anything from it. Next, we had the EEPROM. The EEPROM is known as the erasable programmable ROM. Okay, so the EEPROM was not really erasable, even though it says erasable. We used to have these very huge laptops, not like the very slim and trendy laptops we're seeing in school these days. Back then, we used to have very heavy laptops, as heavy as say a Ghana must go filled with books. That is how laptops were before. And the memory in those laptops were called the EEPROM. Now, just to give you an idea, if you save, let's say, 200 files on an EEPROM, a hard drive, and then you put your laptop in your car and you travel, say, from Abuja to Kaduna, uh, when you get to Kaduna, you may just find out that you have only 50 files on your hard drive. Now, what happened? The EEPROM was tricky because it was able to have files deleted using ultraviolet light, and the sun's rays has ultraviolet light. So the sun's rays basically has ultraviolet. It starts from infrared, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, and then ultraviolet. That ultraviolet is almost invisible to the human eye, very sharp light. And that light was able to delete files from the EEPROM. And that explained why people would just leave their computers in or under the sun and just find out that some of their files were gone forever. However, there were technicians that used to work in a lab, just like how we have photographers that used to have a lab where they go and they print pictures in a blue room. Those lab scientists were in charge of deleting files. So they would use a mirror and a lens to use ultraviolet light on your hard drive to delete files essentially. And that caused a lot of problems. It was not very neat. It was not very convenient. And that brought about the EEPROM, which is the electronically erasable PROM. So for the EEPROM, it was possible to electronically delete files like we have now using our computer. You could just click delete, and its small charge or shock would just be sent to that specific file in your hard drive in order to delete it. So those were the four basic types of ROM that we had. First, the mass ROM, which doesn't allow any form of deletion or addition. The PROM, which allows addition but no deletion. The EEPROM, which allows deletion using only ultraviolet light. Then the EEPROM, which allows the use of electronic charges to delete files. Now we'll go into the RAM. So the RAM basically works like this. I know a lot of you, I think all of you should know the computer command Control C, which is to copy, right? Now, what is Control V? Does anyone know? Okay, yeah, so correct. Control V is to paste. Now, when you copy a file, that is being copied into a certain memory, but that is not copying onto your ROM. So if you copy Control C and electricity is interrupted, when you boot your computer again, what you copied would not be available for you to paste anymore. That's because it was saved on this type of memory called the RAM. However, the Titanic, which you would have saved on your ROM, will still be there on your ROM. So that means that ROM is kind of permanent and non-volatile, while RAM is volatile. And the word volatile is like having, say, methylated spirit poured on a table. If you pour methylated spirit on a table and you come back after 5 minutes, you find that the methylated spirit has evaporated. That means that the methylated spirit is volatile. And that's what we mean when we say RAM is volatile. If you copy a file and for some reason the electricity is interrupted, then you'll find out that the files have been lost. For RAM, there are basically two types of RAM. The first type of RAM is called the SRAM, which is called static RAM. Static RAM is basically very fast RAM. It is able to hold information that you use frequently. So if you, let's say, use VLC frequently, instead of closing VLC, what the computer does sometimes is that if it notices that you're using a certain app frequently, you'll put that app on the RAM so that you can easily use that app quickly without having to cause so much stress to the processor. Next, we have the DRAM, which is called the dynamic RAM. Dynamic RAM uses a certain number of capacitors and transistors and constantly sends electric charges to those transistors and capacitors to keep data you're currently using active. If you're typing documents, say in MS Word, then all that you have typed without saving is basically still on your DRAM. And the computer actually sends some electric shocks and charges to the capacitors every few seconds. You'll just send a charge like zing, and then after a few seconds, you'll send another charge zing, to update the files that you've all typed or that you've been typing on MS Word. So I'll just go on to say that this is why it is important for you to always save your files when you're typing, because if you type, let's say 1,000 words and those electric charges keep updating and you forget to save, then when electricity is interrupted for some reason, you find out that you have to start typing again in some cases, except for now that we have some autosave features which will allow you to recover all that you've typed. But then back then, as I recall, DRAM was on its own without any autosave feature, and so if you even type 1,000 pages and the light goes, then you have to start from page one again, and that was very messy. Right, so that's all. I hope that you all understood the differences between all the types of ROM and all the types of RAM. I'll be sending you a quiz shortly. Thank you for paying attention and have a great day.